I like it. I like it. As a wrestler, I like his style. He stands up. He's got skinny little hips that I can easily grab. Obviously, he's tall, so and a great striker. So a little harder to get on guys like that. But we have our ways. We have our methods. We've definitely trained for all that, and I'm excited about it. He's a tough guy, tough competitor, and I'm up for the challenge.
The AllStar app, the number one app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. Devin, you have 14 fights in the UFC. Do you ever sit back and think about that? 14 fights, because nowadays dudes are fighting once and getting chopped off the roster.
Yeah, I'm pretty blessed to have the 14 fights. I've had some ups and downs, but yeah, I do forget sometimes. I'm like, dang, it's been that long. It's been, I think it's going on like 7 years, 6 or 7 years. So yeah, it's been a while that I've been fighting at the highest level.
It's been a an incredible journey for you as well, man. You've experienced so much throughout the years, and someone like me that has followed you from the start, the evolution is there, and that's how you've been able to, last for 14 fights. If you could go back and talk to 2016 Devin Clark, what would you say to him?
Um, Train harder, expect the unexpected. I don't know. It's a hard thing because even if I did know all the answers then, it probably wouldn't have mattered. Fighting's one of those sports where a lot of it you have to figure it out on the go, and sometimes you need some losses, and sometimes you need some wins to figure that stuff out, and sometimes you need a broken face. So like you said, it's all part of the journey. It's been a long one, but at the same time, feel like I'm still like I'm just starting to blossom into the fighter that I want to be. So yeah, that evolution there of my fight career.
Is the mindset still the same for you?
Not no, the mindset changes so much, especially after wins and losses, and just as the years go by. Um, so it's sometimes I have to reset and get right back into the right mindset. And because with different fights, that mindset kind of changes, and you might fight a totally different way. And that kind of happened to me. My last fight just kind of got in my own head, and didn't really go for the win there. So it's always try to rebound back to where you felt good, which sometimes you're chasing nothing there, but just to be at that space where you feel good and you can fight good.
Physically, do you feel like physically, you're in your prime right now?
Yeah, physically I'm a beast right now. I put in a long camp and we've been working super hard, and I'm in really good shape physically, and it just I put a little more time in this camp after a tough loss last time. I needed to put a little more time in, so we have, and it shows physically and mentally.
What does that feel like for you? Like, how do you determine how you know that you feel to a certain level in your physicality?
Um, just the training, the sparring, and it's a good measure if you go how you think about how you felt at the beginning of camp, which I live in South Dakota and I train in Denver, Colorado, which is at altitude. So coming into camp, I'm huffing and puffing, and my muscles are weak and this and that for about a week or two. Um, and then you get to a stage where that doesn't bother you anymore. Then you're just sore from all the hard work, and now we're at a point where we're chiseled. We're forging that fire. You know, every day is like forging your body and your mind. And we've been doing so much work, and we're starting to see that result. And obviously, we want to peak fight week, but we can already see it 3 weeks out now.
Yeah, you talked about huffing and puffing, man. You're out there
Yeah.
in Colorado, way above sea level, and this is a few camps you're into with elevation. And like, do you feel a difference though in the fight? Like,
A little bit. You can definitely push harder in the fight, which is super nice to be able to rely on that. Know that you train at altitude and you push yourself beyond where you're kind of capable of pushing yourself in that fight just because of the altitude difference. If you work that hard in camp and in altitude, then the fight's probably going to be pretty good. But I think a lot of people mess up where they're thinking they can, take some shortcuts when they're at altitude just because they have the altitude, and then they think they're going to be Superman in a fight, and that's just not the case. And I've learned that lesson too over the years. I've always trained at altitude since I've been in the UFC. Um, so it's something that I've had to work around and figure out.
Yeah, that completely slipped my mind that you before you went to Colorado, you were
Yeah,
in New Mexico, which is also a way above sea level. And but do you feel like a difference between the two places, like between
not really,
Albuquerque and
no,
Denver?
because I think they're roughly the same altitude in the city, anyways. So I haven't noticed too much of a difference. My body definitely knows when we're here and knows how to adapt to that. And over the years, it's easier and easier every time you come back to altitude. Just mentally and physically, you know what it feels like. You know how long it's going to last, and you know how hard you can push.
February 4th, man, your next fight in the UFC is going to be in Las Vegas. When
Hmm.
this fight was announced, you're gonna head over to South Korea. Are you
Uh,
disappointed that you're not going to South Korea? Because that's a long flight, man,
Yes
and
and
jet
no.
lag
Yes
as
and no.
well.
I was super excited for the opportunity uh, to go overseas. I've never been to South Korea, so anytime I get a chance to travel with the fighting, I've seen the world because of fighting. So anytime I get the chance, I hop on it. And this time, I'm fighting a guy from South Korea, so he's the home guy, and everybody's rooting for him. So I'm in enemy territory there. So that's always something that adds to the level of excitement and suspense of the fight, which is a fun time as well and a fun experience. So I was definitely up for it, and so yeah, I was a little bummed when we found out it was in Vegas, but also relieved because that's in an hour and a half flight for me from Denver, and I'm in Vegas and no jet lag or anything like that. Um, but I guess we're still fighting kind of late. So I think the main card starts at like midnight or something in Vegas, or 11 or something different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very weird, like, very odd, like, they would do that.
And yeah, I don't know if that's because of the transfer over from supposed to be in South Korea, maybe for viewing times and stuff over there. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it'll be a little.
It is because of that.
Oh, okay, okay. But yeah, it'll be a little bit interesting and something we have to
Mhm.
prepare for. It adds a little bit
Yeah.
to fight night, and going to bed, when you go to bed, when you wake up, stuff like that. It could make or break a fight if you think about it. So
Mm.
it's definitely something we're preparing for.
I saw over the weekend that you're the co-main event. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
was watching the fights and saw that. So
Yeah, it's like, like, you'd think that the fighters would know before the fans, right?
yeah, yeah. A lot of times that's not the case.
Yeah.
I get I get messages all the time from inside stuff about my fights, and from interviewers and
Mhm.
people and fans that know more than I do. I'm like, yeah, interesting.
And, when they told you South Korea, right, were you thinking, like, "What about North Korea? Like, isn't there something going on?"
A little bit. I'm like, if we make it that far, especially there's stuff going on all over, so it's really not the greatest time to go overseas like that, um, in that region especially. So, but like I said, I was up for it, and that also adds to that, that excitement and suspense. You're going into a dangerous environment either way, so so that's kind of fun to me and scary at the same time.
I live in South Korea, so there's nothing to worry about,
Okay.
man. No one's even thinking
Oh,
about
okay,
all
okay.
that stuff. I was so disappointed when they canceled the card. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'll get to meet Devin because he's gonna come here and fight. You know what I mean? And but
Hmm.
it is what it is, right? Now, your opponent, Un Jung, man, he's one of those solid up and coming fighters. Have
Yeah.
Have you seen him fight in the past before you even got the matchup?
I saw him fight, but didn't really pay any attention to it. I think I saw like the Dustin Jacoby fight, um, and then the William Knight fight because I had to fight William Knight as well. So I think I viewed on that a little bit. But yeah, he's a solid fighter, very tough kid. Um, yeah, it's going to be a tough fight, but we're prepared for that. They're all tough, and I'm I'm no stranger to the big up and coming guys. They like to throw them at me. They know the undefeated or one loss, big name guys that are supposed to do some damage in the UFC. That I've fought a lot of them, and I'll never shy away from it.
Speaking of William Knight, you know, you fought that
Hmm.
fight at heavyweight. Did you ever consider like maybe I should just stay at heavyweight, you know, and I don't have to worry about getting, you know, going on a
Uh,
diet and stuff like that.
yeah, a little bit, and then you go back into the room and you're training with Curtis Blades, and you realize that you're not a heavyweight.
Yeah.
It's just it's yeah, I give it up to the guys that are, smaller heavyweights. That's tough. When you have guys cutting from 300 pounds to make weight, and I'm eating everything and making 240 once they get on you, especially guys that can wrestle and move uh, and have some stamina. It's a hard world. So
Weight is a cheat code in some aspects, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We kind of saw that the other night with this Sean Strickland fight. The fight was at two. They did a thing at 205, and the other guy, he obviously wasn't. He's not a 205er. He weighed in 194, and Strickland probably weighed 220 in that fight. And I think that's why Strickland won, and just he wore the other guy out.
Yeah, he just kind of like bulldozed them on the feet in
Hmm.
many ways. Back to Jung, man. What are your thoughts on
Yep.
him and the style that he brings?
I like it. I like it. As a wrestler, I like his style. He stands up. He's got skinny little hips that I can easily grab. Obviously, he's tall, and a great striker. So a little harder to get in on guys like that. But we have our ways. We have our methods. We've definitely trained for all that, and I'm excited about it. He's a tough guy, tough competitor, and I'm up for the challenge.
You've had a few training camps now at Elevation Fight Team. What are
Mhm.
the key differences you see in the training methods and also in yourself?
Just the organization of all of it. I work with a smaller group, but the bigger guy group, and there's what 10 of us on uh, like a max day, and we get really good work in. It's a tight knit deal, and the coaches they're on it. They're seeing everything, with that smaller group. So it's huge for me. I need that organization and someone to stay on me sometimes, stay on task and stuff like that, and keep in focus. And so for me, that's one of the main differences.
Like you said, if
Hmm.
it's 10 guys and there's 10 high level guys and the coaches
Yeah,
are just watching you, that's incredible coaching, man. That's incredible like
yeah.
insight into like what you're doing.
Yeah, it's great. You get instant feedback. Sometimes you don't want that feedback, but you get it. Um, so yeah, it's really good, and stuff is done how the coaches want it, and we listen, and we get better.
So how do you see yourself bouncing back against Jung?
Ah, I think a good ground and pound finish would be decent. I haven't had one in a while, so yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Get on them, ground and pound, and go home. Um, yeah, there's no reason that plan shouldn't work. I know he's going to try to keep that from happening, but that's the plan.
Yeah, he seems pretty well rounded, right? He's not like the
Yeah,
highest of high levels, but he can go anywhere in the fight, which makes it a decent puzzle to solve.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, and I'm up for that. Like I said, we're training for the best guy out there. Um, so I have some riddles and stuff that he'll have to answer to, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
February 4th, man, UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. Go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app. Thank you, Devin, man, so much for the time. Enjoy the fight, man. It's going to be a
Thank
great
you.
matchup.
Yeah, it'll be an epic fight. It'll be really good. Two good competitors, and we're gonna go at it. It'll be great.